Nearly all mythology and religions have a concept of an afterlife. This is normally a place where you go to reunite with loved ones after you've lived your life. This is meant to bring comfort to people, bringing them a sense that death is not the final stop. Such was not the case of the ancient Egyptians. When people died, a series of trials began that will ultimately culminate in the weighing of one's heart by the god Anubis. All your life, all your virtues, your sins are all put to the test. So when you depart this life and stand trial before the gods, how much will your heart weigh? Anubis is one of the most iconic figures in ancient Egyptian mythology. His overall description is that of a man with the head of a jackal. He's typically portrayed as a tall, slender figure with a well-defined muscular physique. His skin is often depicted as dark, similar to the color of the fertile Nile soil, symbolizing regeneration and rebirth. Anubis' origins speak to us of Nephthys, the sister of Isis and the wife of Seth, that developed feelings for her brother Osiris. To conceal her affair, Nephthys disguised herself as Isis and seduced Osiris. This union resulted in the birth of Anubis. When Isis learned the truth about Anubis' parentage, she was understandably upset. However, rather than holding resentment, Isis showed compassion toward Nephthys. Fearing Seth's wrath and feeling remorseful, Nephthys sought help from Isis. Together, they concealed the infant Anubis in the marshes, keeping him hidden from Seth's knowledge. Known for her maternal instincts, Isis cared for Anubis as her own, ultimately leading him to become a faithful follower of both Isis and Osiris. Anubis assumed the role as the conductor guiding the souls between the mortal world and the underworld, known as Duat. As the god of the dead, Anubis bore the solemn duty of guiding departed spirits through the labyrinth of the afterlife towards the hole of truth, where Osiris himself would judge their souls. Anubis carried a heavy responsibility. In the moonlight of ancient Egypt, he served as a watchful guardian over the sacred burial sites, guiding souls on their earthly journey to eternity. Tombs, once holding mortal remains, turned into sacred places under his unwavering gaze. So, for the Egyptians, death posed a significant challenge, yet they held an optimistic view, believing it could be conquered. However, they understood this quest wouldn't come without facing a series of trials and hardships. Now, a lot of people have probably cheated in a test once or twice in their lives. I know I have, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe you haven't, and hey, respect for that. And do let me know in the comments below, if you have or if you haven't. For those of us who have though, it's normal to have some sort of cheat sheet to bring with you for the test. And for the ancient Egyptians, that cheat sheet was the Book of the Dead. Upon death, the body of the deceased underwent a complex embalming and mummification process to preserve it for the afterlife. This process involved removing internal organs, desiccating the body with salts, and wrapping it in bandages. In the Book of the Dead, the afterlife is depicted as a perilous realm where the deceased face menacing threats. In ancient times, hieroglyphs held a mystic power, especially when inscribed within sacred texts like the Book of the Dead. They were some sort of interactive elements in a video game, each symbol presenting a challenge or obstacle to overcome. However, certain hieroglyphs with menacing depictions posed a risk of unleashing their power uncontrollably. Take for instance the horned viper, a common hieroglyph symbolizing danger. To prevent any harm, scribes would sometimes symbolically sever the snake, ensuring that it couldn't hurt the viewer. After navigating through the realms of the underworld, the journey through the afterlife culminated in a pivotal moment: the judgment before the 42 divine judges in the Hall of Ma'at. As the deceased crossed the threshold into the Hall of Ma'at, towering pillars that lined the chamber seemed to whisper secrets of ages past, their inscriptions bearing witness to the countless souls who had passed through these sacred halls. Anubis, the jackal-headed guardian of the afterlife, stood beside the deceased. His presence was meant to be both reassuring and commanding. As the deceased stood before the jackal-headed guardian, a deep reverence washed over them. With a steady hand and a watchful eye, Anubis presided over the purification rites, guiding the deceased through each step with the utmost care. The rituals unfolded like a sacred dance, every movement precise, every chant uttered with solemn intent. Under Anubis' guidance, the chamber became a sanctuary of spiritual renewal. Then came the first real task, which was standing trial against the 42 judges of Ma'at. This was done by correctly addressing each of the 42 by name and then reciting the sins they did not commit during their lifetime. As the deceased stood before the imposing assembly of the 42 divine judges, a palpable sense of anticipation filled the chamber. The divine judges, each representing a facet of divine law and moral order, scrutinized the soul with eyes that seemed to pierce through the veil of mortality. With each deliberation of the judges, Anubis remained vigilant, ensuring that the proceedings unfolded with fairness. After confirming that the deceased was sinless, came the second part, the weighing of the heart. In the halls of Ma'at, Anubis assumed his role as the presiding deity over the pivotal weighing of the heart ceremony. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as the deceased approached the grand scale, their heart heavy with the weight of a lifetime's deeds and intentions. The heart was placed upon the scale on one side, and on the other side sat the feather of Ma'at, representing the ideal of truth and cosmic harmony. If the heart of the deceased was lighter than the feather of Ma'at, it signified that their actions in life had been righteous and in accordance with divine principles. This meant that the soul was deemed worthy of entering the afterlife known as Adu, or the field of reeds. However, if the heart was heavy with sin and weighed more than the feather, it indicated moral imbalance and wrongdoing during their lifetime. In such cases, the soul faced the prospect of punishment or annihilation, as it was believed that the heart would be devoured by Ammit, the monster with the head of a crocodile, the back of a lion, and the legs of a hippopotamus, and at this point, the soul would cease to exist. Ultimately, Anubis' guidance was not merely about navigating the underworld. It was about empowering the deceased to confront their own inner truths and reconcile with their past deeds. Through his presence, Anubis facilitated the soul's transformation, guiding them towards spiritual enlightenment and eternal peace in the embrace of the afterlife, or eternal damnation. Would you feel intimidated or comforted to have a giant jackal-headed man with you on your final journey? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us for today's tale. If you stuck to the end of this video, it means you probably liked what you saw. So please like this video if you did in fact like it. I'm currently posting every Thursday, so please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Until the next tale, farewell, and may the gods smile upon you.